Welcome to Master of Machines. We live in an era where artificial intelligence moves with startling speed. Every week brings new models, new benchmarks, and new promises about what machines can do. Today, we are looking at a very specific and somewhat controversial corner of that landscape. We are talking about Claude Opus 4.7. But before we get into the numbers, we have to acknowledge the noise surrounding it. There is a significant amount of discussion about whether this version truly exists in the way we understand it, or if it is a market construct that is reshaping how we view cost and capability. Regardless of the academic debate, the practical reality for engineering teams is that this model is being deployed, and it is changing the conversation around total cost of ownership. To understand the impact, we need to compare it against the industry standard. In the world of high-throughput machine learning operations, Llama 3.3 has become a reliable workhorse. It is robust, it is open, and it is predictable. When you run Llama 3.3 in a production environment, you know what you are getting. You know the latency, you know the cost per token, and you know how it handles complex queries. Now consider the claims surrounding Opus 4.7. The narrative suggests a model that pushes the boundaries of what is possible, specifically regarding context window size. We are talking about a 1 million token context window. To put that in perspective, imagine you are trying to read an entire library in a single sitting. A standard book might have a few 100,000 words. A million tokens is roughly equivalent to reading several thousand pages of dense technical documentation without ever losing your place. This capability is marketed as a game changer for extended reasoning tasks. However, capability without efficiency is a dangerous trade-off. In a high-throughput machine learning operations workflow, every millisecond counts. Every token costs money. This brings us to the core of the comparison. The reports indicate that Opus 4.7 is priced significantly higher than its predecessors. Specifically, there are indications of a cost multiplier of 7.5 times the standard rate. Even with promotional offers, this number remains daunting. When you are running an automated system that processes thousands of requests per day, this pricing structure transforms the economics of your entire operation. A task that might cost a few dollars with a standard model could balloon into a significant expense with Opus 4.7. This is where the total cost of ownership becomes the deciding factor. For a startup or a small team, the premium for the larger context window might not be sustainable. For an enterprise with massive data processing needs, it might be the only way to maintain quality. Let us look at the latency. In machine learning operations, you are often dealing with agent teams. These are not single queries, they are chains of reasoning. An agent might need to read a file, understand it, write code, test it, and then refactor it. The research suggests that Opus 4.7 supports 7-hour code refactoring sessions. This implies a sustained ability to maintain coherence over long periods. Llama 3.3 is efficient, but does it maintain that same level of reasoning over a 7-hour window? The data suggests a divergence here. Opus 4.7 seems designed for deep, uninterrupted reasoning, whereas Llama 3.3 is optimized for speed and throughput. If your workflow requires a burst of intelligence, Llama 3.3 is likely the better choice. If your workflow requires a marathon of reasoning, Opus 4.7 might be the only viable option. But you pay for that marathon with every single token you process. There is also the human element to consider. User feedback has been mixed. There is significant backlash regarding the perception of this model as a regression in performance despite being marketed as the most capable. This is a critical insight for anyone considering integration. When you integrate a model into your development tools like Visual Studio Code, you expect it to work seamlessly. The reports indicate early-stage deployment instability. Some environments make the model unselectable. This friction creates a barrier to adoption. You might have the capability, but if the integration is broken, you cannot use it. This is a common issue in the early stages of high-end model releases. The technology works, but the ecosystem around it is still settling. Now consider the broader industry shift. We are moving toward agent teams and multi-step reasoning. The release of this model coincides with that shift. The focus is less on answering a single question and more on managing a complex workflow. The safety boundaries are also a subject of academic debate. While Opus 4.7 claims robust safety records, the commercial pressures are creating friction. Developers are questioning the value proposition. Is the extra cost justified by the extra capability? In many cases, the answer is no. For standard tasks, Llama 3.3 remains the efficient choice. The cost savings are real and compounding over time. But for those specific cases where you need to ingest massive amounts of context and maintain it for hours, the larger window provides a safety net that standard models cannot match. Ultimately, this comparison comes down to the specific needs of your workflow. If you are running a high-volume, low-latency system, the cost of Opus 4.7 will likely kill your budget. The token efficiency is simply not there for mass consumption. However, if you are dealing with complex, long-form reasoning tasks where context loss is a critical failure point, the larger window provides a safety net that standard models cannot match. You are buying peace of mind and depth of understanding rather than speed. The market is still figuring out where this balance lies. As more data comes in, we will see if the 7.5 times cost premium becomes standard or if it remains a niche feature for extreme use cases. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.